did. And you know what? It's such a beautiful evening. I'm not sure if you saw the wonderful full moon outside. It's just gorgeous. And the rains retreat has now ended. And I spent the morning up at Bodhinyana. And you know how everyone lines up and they put the rice in the monks' bowls? Their faces were radiant. Everyone was so happy. It was really beautiful to see. So welcome to this evening. If we haven't met before, my name's Sandra Henville, and before Ariel does the proper announcements, I just really feel like chanting the Metta Sutta. So who wants to chant the Metta Sutta before we get started? Yeah, let's do that. But let's start with 3 Namotasas. So, and I'm going to chant it a little bit differently. I've been really inspired by a Canadian nun, Aya Medanandi, and the way she chants the Namotasas. So. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. Okay, I feel like I'm booming. Let's now chant the Metta Sutta together. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ah, that was really nice. Okay, Wanji Wanji Nunakot, welcome, welcome everybody. I'd like to acknowledge that, tonight we're all meeting on Wajak Noongar country, and it's a pleasure to be here. Pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, the elders of the present, the elders of the past, and those incredible leaders that are emerging. So I'll hand over to Ariel for the real introduction.
Thank you, Sandra. Hello, everyone. Hello, distinguished panelists. As you know, today is our finale for the Rains Retreat Guest Speaker Series, and the overall theme is turning points. So we're getting together to reminisce about the turning points of the society and share some stories from the perspectives of these esteemed panelists today. We have Ananda Thilakasiri, and we have Sandra, as you know, and we have past president, Sheppard. We have Vivara Kunabutr, who's on the way. We have Drew, another ex-president. We have Dr. Sanath Tissera and Mrs. Malkanthi Tissera. Before we go to the chat with our panelists, I'll just make some announcements for the society. First, Ajahn Brahm will be the Friday night speaker next Friday, as we're going back to the normal Friday evening program. He will also lead the Saturday meditation on Saturday, the 4th of November. This Sunday, the 29th of October, is the last weekly Sutta Dhamma discussion group with Ananda Thilakasiri. The time is 3 to 4:30 p.m. in the left-hand shrine room. We also have the 8 Precepts Day at Dhammaloka next Thursday, the 2nd of November. Please contact Lucky at bswa.org for inquiries. Next, the Kusala Hermitage Ajahns will resume their 6:30 p.m. Thursday meditation classes at Rolling Stone Family Center from next Thursday, the 2nd. This group will now run throughout the year, excluding rains. At Dhammaloka, the next Introduction to Meditation course starts the Saturday, 4th of November at 3 p.m., again in the left-hand shrine room. Please note that we have Katina for Bodhiana at Jana Grove on Sunday the 5th of November, and Katina for Dhammasara at Dhammasara Nuns Monastery on the 12th of November. We still have the Beauty of Silence books, which are for the book fundraiser for Newbury Monastery. Please go to the Dhammaloka Library to make a cash donation. We are still looking for volunteers. Please feel free to contact Bill on events@bswa.org if you are interested. We're looking for a gardening coordinator and an architect. We're also seeking a cleaning volunteer for the meditation hall once a week. Please see Lynn, our female caretaker, or email admin@bswa.org. The BSWA Broadcasting Management Group are seeking a new translations service coordinator to help coordinate volunteer translations using subtitles for our Dharma videos. Please contact Sylvie on tech, T-E-C-H, at bswa.org. We're also seeking more AV volunteers to become live stream winners. Please express your interest by contacting Conrad at av@bswa.org. For more details, please go to our website and notice boards. Thank you. May I invite Sandra to lead the meditation now?
Okay, and I've one late announcement too, is that I'm looking for some friends to help me with the Kalyana Friendship Community. So if anyone would love the opportunity to coordinate that group, please come and see me. I've got a few too many things on my dance card. I went to the monastery and acquired another job. So, what to do? I think the only thing to do is meditate, really. So, I'd invite you to just make yourself comfortable. You all look pretty comfortable. If you're sitting in your chair, just put the feet flat on the floor. You know, feel the connection with the earth. It makes a big difference. We'll just let the last people settle. And while they're settling, I always believe that it's good to start a meditation practice with a bit of an attitude of gratitude. So I'd invite you to bring one thing to mind that made you smile today. Something you're grateful for. And as you think of that thing, just gently close down the eyes. Settle into a nice, comfortable position. Doesn't really matter which way you sit. And just let that sense of gratitude settle into the heart. And take a few moments just to turn your gaze downwards, beyond the nose, eyes closed. If it feels comfortable to do so. And just spend a couple of moments just breathing into the space around you. There are so many good people in this Dharma hall. So many friends. So much metta. Just gently breathing that metta in. Just letting the mind quieten. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. before all the beginnings, after all the endings. It's just now. And feel your body sitting. Feel the way the feet make contact with the floor, with the earth. And as you breathe in, breathing in that metta, send loving kindness. Right down to the feet. Just letting the toes and feet relax with each and every out-breath. You're right here where you need to be. Then moving your attention to the calves. Maybe just moving the muscles. And letting them relax. And continuing the journey up to the thighs. Just letting the upper legs relax as well. Back of the legs, the bottom, tops of the thighs. So there's a sense of sitting gently on the earth. Relaxing with each and every out-breath. Just like the Bodhi tree spreads its roots out over the earth. Sitting tall and dignified. Knowing that you're sitting, knowing that you're breathing. Mindful of body, mindful of the body of breath. And just watching how the breath just naturally flows in and out. Noticing whether the breath is soft or strong. Shorter breaths, longer breaths. Letting the breath flow. Letting the breath flow as you soften the shoulders. Let the arms hang comfortably. Hands gently resting. Spine just sitting nice and relaxed. You might even imagine the breath, feel the breath moving up and down the spine. It's feeling its gentle rise and fall. All the way from the tailbone right up to the crown of the head and back down again. Smiling with the beautiful breath. And noticing the way it makes you feel. Feelings of peace and calm. Mind becoming still. Thoughts like winds Just gently passing around the body like a big tree where the wind just passes through the leaves. No hanging on. Freely flowing. Feeling spacious and alive. And when your mind wanders, just gently guide it back to the breath. Guide your attention back to the breath. Settling into spacious awareness. And soon you begin to realize, to know this nothingness is everything. And as we draw to the end of the meditation, it's feeling into this sense of stillness and calm. Taking a moment to reflect back on your practice. You might ask yourself, what are the causes and conditions that give rise to these feelings of peace? And if not now, when do you feel peace? And as an act of metta to yourself, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Just feel into this peaceful space within and around you. And say thank you. So thank you to yourself. May I be well and happy. May I be peaceful and kind, gentle. May I move through my days with ease. And if it feels right to do so, you can bring someone to mind who's in need of a bit of kindness right now. And wish for them too, to feel happy and peaceful, to know kindness and gentleness, to move through their days, their lifetime with ease. And sending those merits out to all the people in the room, may we all be well and happy and peaceful this evening. indeed throughout our lives. And sending the merits out even further. All the people back at home, people in your community, the country, overseas, as far as you can imagine, right up to the devas. And just holding that with you. Well, not holding it with you, sending out the merits while I ring the bell. And if you haven't done so already, you can open your eyes, turn to the people next to you and say thank you to them too. Say, thank you everyone for meditating together. Yeah.
Thank you, Sandra, for the beautiful meditation. Before I invite the panelists to take their seat, I would also like to supplement my introduction earlier. I meant to mention that Dr. Sanath was also the Vice President of the Society, and I would also like to introduce one more panelist, Mr. Binh Anson, who was also the former President of our Society. And without further ado, may I invite the panelists to the chairs in front. Feel free to sit wherever you like.
There are microphones for everyone, so... Come take a seat. You can sit here. Okay. You need a microphone heading this way. So welcome everybody. We're all looking terribly formal, so shake it out. And rather than me warble on and introduce each one of you, I thought that I'd get each of you to just quickly introduce yourself, and we'll make it fun. And brevity is the soul of wit. So your happiest memory of Ajahn Brahm. We're getting into the juicy stuff straight off, so if you could just introduce yourself and one happy thing. And I'll just close my eyes and go like that, yep. Come on, Drew, you're never short of a word.
My name's Drew. I'm an former president. I was on the committee for 3 years. My happiest memory of Ajahn Brahm. I haven't spoken to him for a few years.
Or any of the monks over time, because we're dealing with 50 years here, so...
Probably the pilgrimage to India in 2014 with Ajahn Brahmali. That was pretty good. Dennis.
Thanks, Drew. I'm Dennis Sheppard, and I've been around the Society for a few years, and lots of happy memories really with Ajahn Brahm. It's a sort of a bittersweet memory really. It was really just seeing him at the time of the nuns' monastery coming to fruition, I think that, for me, kind of really solidifies what just the strength and the character and the beauty and the fun that is there inside Ajahn Brahm all of the time.
I'm Sanath in Tissera. We first joined the Buddhist Society in 1982 when we arrived in Perth, and we were delighted to find a Vivara with a monk. And
happiest memory of Ajahn Brahm.
The sweetest memory I have of Ajahn Brahm is when we had a big problem with Ajahn Jagaro, who decided to leave the monastery, and Ajahn Brahm took over and did a wonderful job then on. So that moment was a big thing for me, because there was someone to carry on the good work that has been done already. Yeah.
It's very heavy.
I can take that.
Yeah.
My name is Kanthi. I'm Sanath's wife. We arrived in Perth in 1982 in March, and the first monk, Ajahn Jagaro, was there just 1 month before us. So that's just going to the past. And my happiest memory of Ajahn Brahm is when he arrived in 1983 on Vesak Day. So it was really lovely to see Ajahn Brahm, another one coming, because we had 2 monks then, and Ajahn Brahm arrived on that day.
My name is Binh, Anson. I think I'm a life member here. I joined the society in '78, very, very long time ago. I think looking around here, I think it's only I'm the oldest member here. And later on, Dennis and Dr. Sanath joined the society. And I served as a president for 2 years in '98 and '99. Well, Ajahn Brahm, I used to tell him that because we were born in the same year, but I was born 1 month earlier. So I told him that I'm 1 month older than you, but you are 100 years wiser. So we had so many souvenirs. I don't know, I don't remember. There's so many good time together. And I just remember that when the society decided to buy a piece of land in Serpentine, and Ajahn Brahm lived in a small shed there. Now it no longer exists. And it was in the first Rains retreat that the monk Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Jagaro, they are with one helper. And my wife was pregnant the first time, so we decided to make the decision to make marriage, but bring the food there every week. And he's so happy to see us because we bought some fresh produce, and we cooked and we talked, and he gave me some advice, and I really admire them because at that time I think Ajahn Jagaro was staying in a caravan, but Ajahn Brahm just like a small shed, I think like a rainwater tank cut in half and make like a roof for him to stay there. Really, I still remember until this day, really impressed of Ajahn Brahm.
Thank you, Binh. And yes, I didn't realize that. I thought Dennis is the longest serving member that I knew of. Yeah, that's, you learn every day. And I think Dennis also may have joined in '78, Dennis?
After me.
Yeah, around about then.
There about then, yes. So you are the most senior members around at the moment. Yes, that's a great pleasure, privilege to sit together. And Ajahn Brahm, the best memory that I could think of is, like Drew said, we also went on pilgrimage to India with Ajahn Brahm. That was in 2000 and 5, soon after the tsunami. And I think it was a fantastic tour. I recall the joy of chanting Ratana Sutta at Vesali, the very place that the Lord Buddha chanted that sutta. We together with Ajahn Brahm, and there were 3 other monks, we sat, I think probably at the same place that the Buddha sent Venerable Ananda around in Vesali, and around that stupa we chanted Ratana Sutta, 60 of us, 4 monks, probably 2 nuns, and we all. I think that was one of the best memories, but I think the best memories are the meditating with Ajahn Brahm. Here, Jhana Grove, before this, the former hall. So those are the fond memories, and the good thing is they are continuing. They were not, they are. So, well, just to say, I've been a member. I thought I'm an old fellow, but compared to these 2 fellows, I'm a baby. I joined in 91 as a member, so 95 I was, I think, elected as the treasurer, but I took a back role. And then 2010 again the treasurer. Last year, always I came when there was no one, and last year also I was the secretary, so 3 times. And then also one of my, another thing that I like to share with you is that Bodhinyana was under great threat recently also, but this was in 96-7. I think there was a very big push to open a sand mine, huge sand mine right behind. You may recall, Binh, I think that. There was, Ajahn Brahm was away, and 5-member strategy group. I was one of them, and against all odds, we won that. I think like that we served the society in quite outside from the committee as well. So thanks for the invitation to join the panel, and it's a privilege. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Vivara, or most people probably know me more as V, especially of late after being the assistant treasurer. Perth born and raised, so my upbringing was pretty much school, home, and then temple grounds and helping out BSWA in the events and the wider Thai community as well. Additionally to all the stories told, probably one of the many vivid memories I have is when I was younger and going up to Serpentine whilst waiting for the monks to come up, Ajahn Brahm would give us a short Dhamma talk. And every time the topic of his Dhamma talk would hit the nail on the head of the topic amongst in the car whilst we were driving up to the temple. So, and then on the way back, my parents would always say, "See, you've been in presence of a wise monk." The topic always hits the nail on the head of the topic in that car conversation. So thank you as well for the invitation for tonight, and hope it's a good one.
Okay. Kanti and Sanath, I know that you joined the society back in 82
Right, yeah,
at Magnolia Street. Well,
82.
82.
Yeah.
So, and you were one of the first people I met on an insight meditation group retreat. And you had such a kind, you still do, have such a kind face, but it really inspired me on the path. I just wanted to publicly say that because it meant the world to me. But tell me, what was it like in the early 80s trying to establish a Buddhist society and a constitution and set all of that up? I mean, today I think Buddhism's the 3rd biggest religion in the country and the fastest growing, which is quite astounding. But what was it like in the 80s?
There were a lot of ethnic communities that were coming in from Buddhist countries, so that helped to push the numbers up. So we had Cambodians, Vietnamese, we were all working as a team here, and the multicultural thing was just taking off. And it was so nice to work together and be together with all these ethnic communities. until they became a bit large, and then they broke off and started their own monasteries, like the Sri Lankan people, the Cambodians, and so on. So that was great. Sorry, what was the question you asked?
82, how you started it all.
Yeah, when we came here, Ajahn Jagaro was here with another monk called Ajahn Puriso. These two monks were invited here, and Ajahn Cha recommended these two monks. And it was early days. This is a small house in Magnolia Street, just two rooms. I think that's all there was. And the community was small, of course. And then as the society became larger, then we decided to move on. And Ajahn Jagaro was a very good leader that way, and got he wanted to establish a monastery. He was a forest monk, and he wanted to maintain that. And his primary concern was not to take any loans. We just purely go on donations, which he did. But unfortunately, there were no buildings on that property, and they had to live inside tents and all kinds of other improvised structures. So they went through a hard time, but we got through that. And then it began to develop from then on. And we had a lot of support from Ajahn Sumedho at the time. He used to come here fairly frequently, and we used to have retreats, and so he was a big factor in going forward. It's quite a different ball game today to what we did at the time, because we had maybe 50 members or even maybe less. And
I'll tell you the fundraising.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
So we did a lot of fundraising at the time to get this thing going. So I think Kanthi was very involved in that. She might tell so.
Yeah, because you were...
So with the fundraisings, we used to actually cook and buy the food as well, because the group was so small. And I remember my daughter came running to me and said, please give $2 to make it $100. So that's how we did the fundraisings. It really worked very, very hard. From those small fundraisings, it went up to, we had one in the Civic Centre in South Perth. So it grew from there. So it was not that easy at the beginning, but it was real fun. As Ajahn Brahm recently told us, it was one big family at that time. And all of us knew each other, and it was, I mean, weekends were we were all with the monks, and before this it was at Bodhinyana. So it was a wonderful place to start everything.
And I believe you funded the first kuti.
We built.
Yeah.
The A-frame which still stands there, we built that kuti.
That's lovely. And Dennis, I believe you had a hand in designing some of the buildings here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
How did you come to stumble across the Buddhist Society? I feel like you've just been here forever.
yeah, no, it feels like that to me as well. But happily, I started coming here before I was a member in around 1975, actually. I was just involved with a group that was just at the time buying Magnolia Street. Previous to that, the members of the society used to sort of meet at people's houses. They had the library in the boot of a car. And I was just at this point, I wanted to just mention Warren Smales, who was just a strong member at the time. His wife, actually, Karen Smales, was a president at some particular time around then. and they put their house up as a collateral so that we could buy that property in Magnolia Street. I always thought that was a wonderful, very, very brave thing to do, because we were just we had no money at all basically, but there it was. That allowed us to buy that property in Magnolia Street, and that also was the catalyst that started us to organise to bring monks over. So that's really when that little group of 5 people that went to Thailand, we were able to sort of consolidate ourselves enough to be able to go to Thailand and, eventually find Ajahn Chah up in Chiang Mai, and Ajahn Chah and the group that went requested that we have monks sent from there, and that happened. And it was only really a couple of weeks after they came back that we had Ajahn Jagaro arrive and Ajahn Paruso, our first 2 monks who moved into Magnolia Street. So that's basically, where it started. And Lynn Jackson, she's here, so I don't know if she's here in the room tonight, but she was certainly one of those 5, and it was a great, well, I always see Lynn as like the matriarch of this society.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. So my next question's for Binh. So, given you are the most senior person here, what have been, because the theme of this year's Rains Retreat speaker series has been turning points, and this might be a big question, but what do you feel have been the biggest turning points for the BSWA?
Actually, now I realise that Dennis, he's involved in the Buddhist Society since 75, so much longer than I was. Because I came to know the society in only late 77, 78, because I first came to Perth to do a PhD at Murdoch in 77, and at the end of that year, then we came to know the society through Vichai, as a Thai man, one of the 5 people who went to Thailand to ask Ajahn Chah to send some monks over here. And we still keep contact with Vichai. Actually, I spoke to him, I think, a few months ago. No, just a few weeks ago. Because it happened that he lives in Cairns, and my daughter, my first daughter, my eldest daughter, she's a doctor there too. So yeah, we just talked. I met him 2 years ago, but recently I just spoke to him on the phone. Yeah. So it's very hard to say, but the society has changed a lot. As Dr. Nahman say that when I first joined 78, it's only about 20 people or something less, and we were really struggling to pay the mortgage. I remember I have to have my coins box, and I put all the coins there, and every week or every fortnight I just collect all the coins and I said we go to the bank and cash it and put into the society account. We try to save every cent from that, and I rented a house just not very far from the Magnolia in North Perth, so I used to help to come every second day to help watering the garden and have a talk to a few members there too. So it's quite a good souvenir. And I don't know whether anybody will realize that the design of this room, this hall, is mainly Danish work. He's involved in architect and building, so that's a very nice design. So it used to be the car park before, because this area was the Anglican church, and I think the pastor lives there, and the next one, the whole community hall, used to be a church, and this area is a parking area. So Danish design and build up this one, very nice hall that we have.
And what does it, so it's probably a good question for Vivara. What does it mean for the Thai community to have a place like this to come to? Like, in this,
Hopefully I'm giving a very random and, not that, but
you
reflective.
can personalise it, yeah, because what makes it so rewarding to volunteer at BSWA? Why would anyone sign up to be the assistant treasurer, let alone the treasurer?
For me personally, when I was approached, and my main focus was just to help ease the duties for monastics, for me especially. So that's what was my main, as you hear the stories with all due to respect, okay, how much work it is being on the committee and as such, but when you're approached, and then with my main call is that to try and assist and make it more easier for the jobs for the monastics, and then those as well that you see core helping out along. You just want to be that little bit that would help make things a little bit easier and smoother.
Yeah, so are there any particular turning points that you've experienced, like has your volunteering helped your practice? Do you feel it's deepened your practice, or?
Keep continuing your practice and you don't lose. For me, I do find that you still need to refresh. So, sure, you've heard the stories many times. Sure, you've been told, be in the present moment, watch your breath and all that. But sometimes you do need that refreshment as to coming to back. And then in volunteering and then hearing the stories, or being amongst the environment as well, you still get that refreshment. And then you can sort of go to the next step as well in getting that deeper practice, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm just going to swing to Drew, because I know we've talked about this before. How I was just chuckling to myself today. There are so many things I've learnt volunteering at BSWA about, let's just say, the nature of humanity, which have been quite useful in the workplace. So, what's...
Drawing on my time as president, I guess I was surprised that in my time there how much conflict there was on the committee, and brawls and fighting and personalities having a go at each other. And people would say to me, I can't believe Buddhist people on a committee would behave like that, and splinter into factions and groups. But actually, when people are under pressure, that's human nature, and it's part and parcel of it. And the real Buddhism is, I guess, overcoming that and getting people to cooperate and sort of see the bigger picture. I understand now that the committee's a lot more peaceful than it has been, but we were going through quite a few changes, and that the society had to. And different views meant things got heated. And
so how do you deal with that? Because you did a lot of work to streamline processes and try and put good governance in place.
Well, unfortunately for some people, you just have to disagree. And the point of a committee is that it's a democratic process, and the majority votes. And some people, they wouldn't be happy with the outcomes. But that's how a democratic society and a committee works. And we got the important things that had to be done. And in the long run, that was for the best. And the idea is probably not to be caught up in that time. And also, it's good learning for people in that environment, never really to hold any personal grudges, I suppose. And really, there's no one from that time. I forget actually now who was even on the committee, because I haven't held any grudges. But at that time, we got through it. We had to, and let it go.
So what did you find was the most rewarding? Is there anything, were there any real turning points where there was, I don't know, like a real lesson or something you're particularly proud of that you were... I
don't really have any pride in it, because I was just part of a process at the time that I was trying to lead, and then hopefully I've disappeared into the background. But yeah, with all the strife that we had, getting the subcommittees up and running, getting some more paid professionals in to take the load off the volunteers, the committee who are starting to crack because of, everyone's got their family life and their work life, and the society had grown to such a point with the complexity of government compliance and insurances and all the rest of it. It was just too much for to expect volunteer committee members to do that, and to have one committee, I guess, trying to oversee multiple premises, like Jana Grove and this place and the other campuses. So to put in subcommittees for each of those different campuses, allocate their money and budgets, get in some paid professionals, part-time or full-time, to help manage, that, anyway, in my time was the best outcome, and that was a turning point in society where, we've heard that it went from a society out of a car boot with the books, and then they bought Magnolia Street, and then we built this place, and then finally what caught up to the society in about 2014 to 18 when I was on the committee was just dealing with this massive growth of facilities and membership, and a lot of the older people wanted it to be like the old days and had fear about it being corporatised and taken over, but it didn't work out that way. And if we didn't have those structures in, the government was on our case, the tax department was on our case, and things had to be reshuffled and put and made better. And they have been. It's been good since then, so we can all relax.
Yeah, it was pretty phenomenal, really, to grow from quite a small volunteer effort to quite a sizable organisation. And I think you can call it an organisation. Ajahn Brahm jokes about disorganised religion. We could never be accused of being organised religion, but we kind of had to.
I think the key now, though, to keep members coming and growing and happy is that it's become much bigger, and there's all these different campuses, and there's a bit more structure and organisation. But I think what the committee needs to look at now is how do we keep a smaller, more inclusive, friendly environment where you do know a lot of people, and you do feel comfortable coming down here, and you're not just, I guess, lost in the crowd, and you can make other lay friends. And I think that's really the next, and it has been for the last 3 or 4 years, challenge for the committee is to look at something like that. And certainly the society has the money to do things like make a cafe or a coffee shop or some sort of activity centre that brings the lay people together besides just the Friday night silence, meditation, go home. I didn't really meet anyone. This was something we tried to get up and going in my time, but it was too much. There was too much other stuff going on. But yeah, what's another turning point for the society on the horizon now? I would say somehow bringing that community feel to a much bigger organisation. And I guess there's a few ways you could do it.
Well, Kanti, you were quite instrumental in the early days in helping the Cambodian community feel welcome. You were... you got any hot tips for us? Because I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was the first social worker at the Buddhist Society. That was a turning point because we got a grant from the immigration department to settle the Cambodian community, and Kim Chu and his wife, they're here as well. They were there. I can remember them. It was so much joy bringing them here and settling them. And also I ran a counseling service where anyone from the Buddhist Society could come and discuss their issues, and because I qualified at Curtin University. And so that was quite a turning point as well, because anyone could come and make an appointment and discuss about their issues, which I don't know whether it's happening now. I'm not too sure about what's happening currently. And also, along with Ron Mutton, we used to run a group for new Buddhists, small can remember, Ron? That was because it was smaller, so we used to have particular days in doing that. And so the social work one was very good, but we got the grant only for 3 years, and we managed to get the Cambodian community, and which has grown into a big community now, which is so nice to see. So that's one of the...
Ananda or Binh, do you have...
Yeah,
I mean, anyone can talk.
I
feel like
just
the traffic
want
director
to mention
here.
the fact that I've been in Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney. I talked to different Buddhist groups, and also been in California. Also went to see some of Buddhist group there. And I used to tell my wife that we are very fortunate, very lucky that we have a very good Buddhist society here in Perth. That not many people realize that, even though we got some problems of sometimes some infighting between groups. But that's just natural. That's like attachment to views, which people sometimes got some conflict. But they all come here with a sincere heart to practice, and all the conflict can be solved in a harmonious way. And if you look around, you can see that we got a multicultural group here. It's not if you go to some other Buddhist society in the Eastern States, you can say, oh, there's a Vietnamese group, a Sri Lankan group, the Burmese group, the Cambodian group. But here we call Australian group. We got the people from different ethnic backgrounds but come and mix. Even though, I remember there's one observation by one Thai monk a long time ago. He said that after he stayed here for about 3-4 months, he told me that like the Thai people used to come here for dana, and for sharing, giving, for ceremony, because they get used to it in Thailand. And the Australian people come here just interested in meditation, and they go home. But if they really had a good karma and they really had some interest in Buddhism, they stick for a few more years, and gradually you can see the Thai people now, they also like to sit meditation. They come here to have the 8 precepts, and they stay whole night in the next in the community hall next door, and they meditate all day, all night, and they also read books and talk, even though sometimes language may be still a barrier, but they're more interested more and more in Dhamma. And the Australian group, after a few years, they also realized that, they got to participate, got to share more for Dana, and got to open their heart and contribute more, giving more service to the society, not only to come for meditation. So gradually the people just mix and meet. That's a very good observation. I think that's right, because you come from different background, that's why. But as I say from the beginning, that this society, I should seek it for so many years now, because it's unique. In a way, it's unique. If you happen to go to see somewhere else, you wouldn't see like this. And you can see that we got the Buddhayana about 72 or 75 kilometers from Perth. And Dhammasara is about 60 kilometers from Perth. But you can see people every day, someone turn up, bring the food and cook and serve and offer to the monks or the nuns throughout the year. You don't get that sort of constant support in any other place. So I think we are really fortunate to have a good Buddhist group and a good Buddhist society.
You hit on a really interesting point there about breaking down cultural barriers. And I've been pondering that a lot and just trying to work out how do we do that? Because I still feel that when I host a Kalyana friendship community session, I don't really see a lot of different cultures coming together or different ethnicities coming together. So how do we...
I think because, I say that because of attachment to view. The Buddha also warned us about that. There are many types of attachment. That's why the attachment is very hard to overcome, attachment to view. We think that that's the way. I was born in Vietnam like myself, and went used to the Mahayana tradition, and I think that's the way of the Buddhists who got to practice. And if someone do differently, I think, it's not right. So we got to be more open-minded. And one thing good here is also with Ajahn Brahm, he's understanding and tolerant. And we got to go back to the root of Buddhism. What's in it? What sort of benefits or what the Buddha teaches? All the other one, the ritual or the organization, is just the outside. But we got to go right inside the essence of it. And I think one of the book, I also heard the Dharma talk by the Bhikkhu Bodhi. He said based on the commentaries, Buddhism offers 3 types of happiness. Usually the people come here just think about nibbana, or liberation or something, but it's not. We got to be practical. The first type of happiness is happiness here and now. How do we be happy now at the moment or in our lifetime, in our family? How do we treat the people? That's the metta, meditation, and the sila, the morality. We got to keep those things and how to get a good in a harmonious way. And then it's not only this life, and not many people can get enlightened right away. We got to be reborn again for many lives in the future. So how do we invest to make, to create a happy environment in the future for the future lives? That's what we got to think about it too. And finally, it's ultimate happiness, it's nibbana, it's liberation. So we got 3 types of 3 levels of happiness we got to aim at. And we got to be realistic, like myself now, I'm retired. I still have a family, a wife, children and grandchildren. How we make them happy and live happy with them, and how I treat the people around me in my neighborhood, and even when they come to society here, how do I solve all the problems so can bring happiness and harmony to the people? That's important. That's something practical, but we got to remember, always remember that. But if we remember that, we can solve all the conflicts, I think.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you, Binh. Actually, the question that you raised, what is the turning point for the Buddhist society, I think undoubtedly, when I was looking at the history and the background, the monk that Venerable Puriso, who came with Ajahn Jagaro, he had to leave. And who was the replacement? I think that was the turning point. Undoubtedly, for the Buddhist society, the turning point was, for some reason, the second monk who came with Ajahn Jagaro did not like Perth.
Oh.
For whatever the reason. What do you think now the reason was? The reason was that our fortune. Who came, who did Ajahn Chah send as the replacement? Ajahn Brahm. So I think categorically we could say, if not for Ajahn Brahm, I don't think the Buddhist society would be there, but not this mega structure with all this compassion and the teaching and all that. So I think that is the turning point for the Buddhist society. The overall, every organization, things happen, things change, and they are turning points, but the turning point, the pivotal turning point is Ajahn Brahm coming here, I would say. And also, I think Binh mentioned that there are various temples, groups, but not Thai, not Sri Lankan, not Burmese. This is the Buddhist. The Buddhism has no cultural barriers. There are no, it's the no limit religion, so it's open to everyone. And I think that for everyone's benefit as well, the turning point in my life was, of course, meeting Ajahn Brahm, and then undoubtedly, and I'm sure for most of us, and of course, I'm a traditional Buddhist from a Buddhist country, Sri Lanka, but started practicing after, properly practicing after coming here, I must say. And my turning point is Bhante Sujato, actually the second one. And Bhante Sujato, I was, soon after the Jhana Grove was open, where would we have a Jhana Grove if not for Ajahn Brahm? I know, I think all members will remember, I think he has had to argue at the committee as well, I think, for that place to be come to fruition. So they are all turning points, and Bhante Sujato conducted his very first weekend metta retreat at Jhana Grove. And I sat right at the back wall, Jhana Grove. I asked Bhante, is it necessary to read Sutta? So, and I still remember the answer that he gave. He said, Ananda, yes, read Sutta, because I knew him. He was the young secretary here when we had that problem with the proposed sand mine.
Yeah.
And so I knew him reasonably well. And he said, you will get closer to the Buddha, you will get closer to the Dhamma, you will get closer to the Sangha. Your path to liberation will be much swifter. And hasn't been, I haven't heard the truth better than that. And obviously I have heard the truth, Four Noble Truths, but in the mundane world, that is the truth. I think turning point is that the Ajahn Brahms brought here the Buddhist Society, and then he started the Sutta classes, and continuing still, he brought, Bhante Sujato came, that is the other turning point. So I think we are very fortunate here. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so in the spirit of inclusion at 8:45, I'd like to just ask the audience if you have any questions, like maybe we could theme it up. So I wanted to start to round out the discussion to talk about, you know, what is our hope for the future of BSWA? I mean, it has grown exponentially. I'd just be really curious about any questions or comments. Is anyone brave enough? Yeah. Oh, good on you, Bill. You grab a microphone so the... oh, well here we've got lots.
I think a major turning point was Ajahn Vivara coming here, as well as the start-up of Dhammasara Monastery.
Yes, that is a major oversight we have not mentioned.
Yes.
But the big turning point of the Bhikkhuni ordinations and Dhammasara and, yeah, Ayavayama. Yeah.
And I just forgot to mention one small thing that besides we got a very good Buddhist society here, nobody will realize that we have the best meditation center, Jhana Grove. You cannot find anywhere in the world. We got a meditation with a very well organized and all facilities like that. It's a Jhana Grove meditation center.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty unusual. It's something I didn't fully realize until Ayat Tatalika, who was the preceptor for the nuns' ordination, the Bhikkhuni ordination at Dhammasara, and she said that they watch BSWA very closely to see how things unfold and develop here. Because this is really unusual to have a fourfold assembly. To have the bhikkhunis, the bhikkhus, the monks and nuns, and the household of men and women all coming together. You don't really see that in many parts of the world, I'm led to believe. So, yeah, it's... Yeah, and you...
Yeah.
Because you have a very close association with Dhammasara, don't you?
Yes, we did, yes. Ajahn Vayama, actually, Ajahn Vayama, thank you, Bill, for bringing that up, and I also forgot that. And she had one of the toughest times when we started the Dhammasara, when the Buddhist Society started. I think I visited within a week of buying that, took some monks from Bodhinyana. There were no roads or anything at that time. And Ajahn Vayama, I think most of us know it, there may be few newcomers who don't know, that she lived up on the hills on a rickety old caravan, no water, no electricity, no mobile phone, nothing, absolutely nothing. And when we took the dana, we carried water as well. There was overhead little water tank, so fill that as well. And I think the food was laid on the rock. There was if you go there now, you get on a Katina day, you can go and visit that place right at the top. And food was laid on a plastic sheet. I still recall blue plastic sheet. And the one who got the dana very first was not Ajahn Vayama, all the bull ants. That was the beginning of Dhammasara. So we owe our gratitude to Ajahn Vayama as well. And that's it. And I also now mentioning Ajahn Dhammasara, I think a lot of people don't know. I like to pay respect to another benefactor of Dhammasara, and most people don't know. He used to sit there on that, just next to that door, Brian Creek. If old members know Brian, and he'll always say LG. He died in 2014. Yes, and if you want to get a little bit more details, you will find in an old edition, 2019, third edition of Enlightened Times, a little bit on that, under the title Memories. And he gave his entire estate to, no, it's okay, it's all right, it's perfectly in order.
We checked it out.
It's checked out. It's perfectly in order.
Yeah.
It can be in that article. It's openly. Article was checked by draft was checked by Ajahn Brahm. Draft was checked by Ajahn Hasapanya. So there is no restriction in mentioning Brian's name. I'm quite familiar because I saw the will. I did all the work on his will for Buddhist Society. 14 months it took.
Gosh.
So therefore, I'm fully familiar with that, and there was no restriction. And it's in the public domain, Enlightened Times. So therefore, there is no problem in that. And he gave all that, almost $1 million. Almost $1 million. So Dhammasara, we owe a debt of gratitude to Brian Creek, and one of the oldest members as well, in the 90s. So when we mention Ajahn Vayama, thanks Bill for bringing it up, and Dhammasara, I thought I better mention that as well.
Another thing, I like the practicality of the monks. When they started Bodhinyana, they built the ablution block first. The ablution block for the monks. And that's where the two bad bricks are.
Oh, right, okay. I've been looking at the wall.
And I remember, I think Ajahn Purusa was actually a tiler by trade at one stage, and he did the tiles in the ablution block. And then for a week or so, there was 3 monks there.
So, Casanio, could I put you on the spot? Ask you, what are your hopes for the future? You're the current president.
Thank you for that. It's a good question. And I guess as Drew mentioned already, we're currently a very peaceful committee. We're sort of moving slow, but we have a very steady and slow move. We have some short-term goals that we set for ourselves for this year. But I guess if I think of the future and long-term goals, so let's see our Buddhist society growing, not just in Australia but internationally. So we're looking at other countries and how we can grow Buddhism worldwide. So yeah, I guess we'll be expanding the Buddhism across the world. But it's a long-term goal. It's but it's in our plans. It's a good answer.
Yeah. You should actually come and sit here so that when this recording goes live, all the folks can see you. Because it's wonderful to have you as the president.
Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed today's panel's discussion. It's good to know what's been happening in the past and how we all became this big society. And I guess actually I was thinking about a question for Sandra.
Oh gosh, I thought I had, ducked out.
Yes, so there was a question about what was the turning point for all panelists, and I wanted to ask you what was your turning point or something very important or significant that happened in your own personal development or experience while being in a Buddhist society.
While being in the Buddhist society, I've got a lot to thank Dennis for, and my friend Linda McGuire. So the turning point, was when I saw the care training advertised. I thought, oh wow, this is very proactive stuff. And I came along and I did the training, and I guess that was a bit of a turning point. And then the other, so it's kind of like, be the change you want to see. And look, Binh, you kind of touched on this, because in the early days, I didn't really feel that comfortable coming along to BSWA. But then once we started doing things like the care group and we had a crack at Wednesday nights, and I realised that, oh wow, this is really a very friendly place.
Yes.
And the monks and nuns are really very accessible. And it sort of opened the book a bit. And it's a gradual training, right? So things just unfold and unfold. So there's many, many little turning points. But it was that just sitting in the Dharma hall one day and thinking, wow, I just feel really safe and comfortable in this space. It's not what I grew up with. The only reason I went to church when I was a kid was because the CWA ladies did good scones. But my dad used to write notes to say that I didn't have to do religious instruction because he was firmly in the atheist camp. I said, no, Dad, you've got to understand, these women, they do great scones. He's like, oh, well, as long as you don't listen and just eat the scones. So it's... And I think the thing is that the way Ajahn Brahm teaches, it is, in a sense, it's quite secular, and it speaks to, I'm going to use the word ordinary people living their lives, haven't really grown up in a Buddhist country or a Buddhist family, and it's not actually asking you to bow down to anything. It's asking you to consider what I think are just basic good rules for living, being good humans. Yeah. And it's very freeing. So that's a long and garbled answer to what the turning point was.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
Ksenia, have you got any questions for the other panel members?
Oh, I think we had a question at the back. Run, Bill, run. No?
Thank you. Just wanted to ask, where should we, as a Buddhist, where should we direct our knowledge, our focus? What should we be learning in life?
Oh, finishing on the big, deep questions. Come on, panel. That's a good one. Anyone got a nice succinct answer?
Actually, Ajahn Brahmali was asked this question, same question at Jhana Grove. The question was, can you sum up Buddhism in one word? This would have been about probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. At once he said, kindness. I think that's very true. And if you look at the sutta, the one word is the apamada, that is apamada means diligence. But diligence encompasses kindness. So if we are kind to others and kind to ourselves, then I think we are good Buddhists.
Yeah.
I think that's my answer coming through Ajahn Brahmali.
I'd probably add to that.
Oh, come on, Drew.
I'll add to that. I'll be real brief. Don't worry about it. If you wanted to direct your knowledge somewhere, you would direct it at the self, and on the Buddhist path, you would attempt to master yourself, and then you've done that through the Dharma. That's it.
All right, now I'm going to vote that is the ending question, and each of us have to offer up a pearl of wisdom. Come, Dennis.
Yeah, well, I think what Drew said there is probably just about right on the money. But I think here in this society here, we've got a great opportunity here to really understand just what life is about, because, you know, I'm always say whenever I get the chance to talk, I always sort of talk about the mystery of just what we're on about here. It is a very mysterious thing, this world. Very mysterious thing, just being on this planet and being in this space and sort of understanding just what it is. But in fact, I was just, because Drew and I just had a meal together tonight, and we were just talking together about well, just this thing, where should you be looking? And it always just strikes me that when you look at the present moment, and then you realise that this present moment is a constant. It is there all of the time. It is a constant in nature. You know, very similar, if you like, in scientific terms, to the speed of light. This present moment never changes. It is always there. Now, once you start to get your head around that, you start really then to start to see the things around the right way. The right view starts to come into your own view, because you can see that that what's out there and what's happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future is really got nothing to do with reality. Reality is all about being here in this constant of the present moment. So that's where usually our meditation, we work out to make our meditation, or take our meditation to that place, and to be able to understand the depth of it and to really go deep inside it and find the stillness that's there. And then when you can find the stillness, and you know beyond any doubt what that stillness is, then you've got the opportunity to hold that stillness in equilibrium with this world. And then you'll start to get the opportunity to see what the Buddha saw. So thank you.
Going back to what this gentleman was asking, I would say Buddhism in short, 2 words would be get real. And
I love it.
and how do you get real? I think the key to that is being in the moment, as Dennis was saying, and that's through Vipassana practice, to see what's going on in the moment, and as Ajahn Sumedha would say, this is the way it is at this moment. See, it won't be any other way. So just, if you keep on observing the moment, then you begin to understand the way things really are, how they are structured, and see through the illusion of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and non-self. Yeah.
I fully agree with Dennis. I think Dennis said what I'm thinking of saying, but to put it in a nutshell, the past is gone and the future is yet to come. So being in the present moment is the most important thing. So try and do it in your everyday life. I think that's really not only just sitting in meditation, even in your daily life, just be aware of what's going on at the moment. I think that's one of the, for me in my meditation, that's one of the strongest points. Just all the time remind yourself to be in the moment and accept what's there. Not to hope for anything else, but just accept it, and then the next one will come.
Yeah.
It just remind me of when you're walking through the gate there, you can see the standing Buddha, and underneath there's a Dhammapada verse. I think that summarizes Buddhism. Not to do evil, always doing good and purify the heart. That's the teaching of all Buddhas.
That's all. Yeah, I think what Binh said is true. I think that is it's one of the best verses in the Dhammapada. I think we can almost running out of time, but I like to chant it. Sabba papassa akaranang kusala supa sampada satitta pariyodapanang etang buddhanusasanang. That is what Binh gave in English. That encompasses the Buddhism. Actually, what it says is be kind.
Yeah.
Be kind to you and to all sentient beings, and then purify your mind. It's right on that. On that. Okay.
And I guess to emphasize in regards to being in the present moment, yes, we do have very, very good meditation centers and centers here. But just because you don't get the chance, or some people aren't able to drive that length, you can be in the present moment anytime. Sometimes I find the most tranquil or the simplest or just being that present moment is when I get to come here even just after work. Like one of Ajahn Brahm's stories, someone says, thank you for the car park at Serpentine. So, yes, we do have very, very good centres, but if you can't get there or difficulty just in that present moment, doesn't have to be at a centre, doesn't have to be at Buddhist land, anywhere. You can still practice. Thank you.
Yep.
Just as a footnote, she's the daughter of one of my Thai friends that I come to know in Perth 40 years ago. So she's like the second generation member of the Buddhist Society.
There you go. I think the summary is just be kind. Just be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And I think that brings us to a close this evening. So I can see Ariel's got the mic.
Oh, I was just preparing to get some thank you gifts if you think we are ready for that.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a gift too that I'd like to give to you, Ariel.
Oh.
Because Ariel has done a wonderful job this year of pulling together all the speakers. It's been so professional, so smooth.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful thing to be a part of, and I just love the way that you have really put the attention into detail. And yeah, it's been top notch.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, the speakers have been top notch. So I have a little gift here. Between Kasena and myself, we put this together, and you have to come over here and accept it.
Okay. Thank you.
And wave at the camera.
Sorry, panelists, I'm taking my gift first.
Sadhu, sadhu. So everyone, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah. Okay.
So my turn.
Your turn.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're on.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank you.
I'd like to say a special thank you to Ananda, who has helped me to host many Friday nights and stepped in to speak when I rejuggled the speaker roster last minute. So he has always been able to help me at the drop of a hat. I could not have done the Friday nights without our roster of hosts.
And I would also like to thank the AV team, because you've done exceptionally well this year. And also thank Bill and Garsong and all the people who are just always here, and particularly Sue V. She is the lady who loads everything up to YouTube. And yeah, it's there are some manoeuvres involved doing that, and yeah, yes. Thank you.
And last but not least, V, my new friend, who pulled off a maneuver to end up here before 8 o'clock. Thanks so much for taking time out from a very busy work day to come. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and to the people I've forgotten, thank you. And let's pay our respects to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Yeah, we might as well turn around. And we will, I will try. Okay. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavatam Abhivadeti Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. And I'd like to offer these flowers to any of the panel members who'd like to take some home, or anyone who'd like to take some flowers. Please do, please do.